All right, welcome everybody to our first Monday morning of our new series. This morning we're going to be going over the first one in our Back to Basics series, Communication Styles. And just as we're going through, I'm going to keep everyone on mute. If you'd like to pose any questions or if you want to say something, feel free to either type the questions into the question box or raise your hand and I will call on you. So, welcome to today's on Communication Styles. My name is Amber Cochran. I am the Senior Training Manager here for AHCP Sales. Communication style, something that we have to remember is that it's a behavior, how you express yourself, but also, and remember, is that you have a choice. No matter what happens, no matter what the client says, no matter what is going on, you have a choice on how you react. So first off, I'd like to go through the 4 different styles of communication and then break it down a little bit further on how to deal with them. There's really in this business, well, in the world, 4 different types of communicators. There's the promoter, there's the supporter, the analyst, and the controller. And as we go through these, let's go ahead and start with the promoter. The promoter is the talkative, the relaxed, loyal, creative, the dreamer, responsive, persuasive, enthusiastic. We can go on and on about this person forever. This person always shows happiness and energy, and it seems like they're always interested in what's being said. It's that salesperson that could, you've all heard the phrase, you could sell ice to an Eskimo. That's the promoter, the one that can get anyone excited about anything. The supporter is more of that nurturer, the caregiver, the helper. They're not really confrontational. They're very, very patient. They're accommodating, kind-hearted, soft-spoken, and they usually just follow. They do what's told. The analyst, we all know this analyst. They're very cautious, conservative, detail-oriented, logical, persistent, thinker, planner, realist. The last one is our controller. Controller is competitive, assertive, blunt, no excuses, impatient, stubborn, opinionated, controlling. And let's bring these to our clients, okay? Let's go back to the promoter and think about your client that's a promoter, the one that's always super excited that they are, making this career change, and they're so excited that they get to learn about something new, and they just want to get you on their side, okay? This one is really, really easy to sell because it's easy to be energetic with them and get excited about stuff. The supporter is someone who is a little more difficult to deal with because they just want to follow. They just want to be told what to do. The supporter a lot of times is your parent that is trying to find insurance for their child that just turned 27. And no matter what you're thinking, no matter whether you're trying to, or you're telling yourself, why can't the kid just call, or whatever it is, you have to deal with that supporter. The supporter, caregiver, parent, whatever, answer all their questions. Be nice to them and try to accommodate to them. But all in all, you got to get the kid on the phone because sometimes Parents don't know all of the health conditions or those sort of things. Analyst. Oh, Analyst is sometimes very, very hard to deal with. I can remember time and time again multiple different clients of mine that wanted to put together spreadsheet comparisons of how their health would fit into a copay plan versus an HSA plan, and dollar for dollar spent out, and well, if I don't have any major claims, this one's going to be better, but if I had one little thing happen, then this one's going to be cheaper. Sometimes you just have to walk them through. Let them email you the spreadsheet, and don't spend a whole lot of time going over it. Just take a peek and let them feel like they're validated, okay? The controller, we all know the controller that calls you up and thinks that they know it all about healthcare reform and everything that has to do with insurance, yet most of the time they've never had any individual health insurance, and they don't realize that there's things that they can be declined for or any of those sort of things. So the question is, how do we deal with these people? Oh, actually, it's not how do we deal with these people. It's you need to not limit yourself by being only one of these styles. You have to learn how to be all of the styles. You have to learn how to get energetic with them. You have to learn how to look at that spreadsheet and tell them that this is right and this isn't. You have to have patience with them. So, mirroring your clients, whether it's the speed, the tone, the volume, or the vocabulary, using the words that they use. Just because they say deductible and they're talking all about deductible, you need to say deductible. When they start telling or talking about coinsurance and they're saying my percentage, my cost, or whatever it is, you got to make sure that they understand that's their coinsurance, but yeah, your percentage is. If they say percentage, use percentage. They're interchangeable. It doesn't really matter. As far as dealing with the promoter, you have to let them talk. You have to make sure that they're feeling like they're heard, okay? The promoter doesn't care about those little tiny details. They want to focus on the big picture. Unless they ask you for the details, you're just giving them that bullet point, which actually works very well for all of our communication styles. But give them the bullet point and then really, really, really focus on the examples. The examples of whatever they've said, using everything that they've said to bring it into the presentation. You wanted your preventative covered. This covers your preventative at 100%, just like you asked, just like you're looking for. You know, when they told you that their kid broke their foot on a trampoline and you're talking to them about the accident policy, you're painting that picture for them. So if you would have had this policy in place when your son broke his foot, then this would have covered every single thing for you. You would have had that $100 deductible, and then that's it. This would have picked up every other dollar towards that deductible and the coinsurance so that you could just focus on taking care of your son. Got to paint the big picture for him. As far as the supporter, you absolutely cannot show that you're frustrated that you're dealing with the parent or the supporter instead of the client, if that is the case. You have to show the sincere interest, listen and respond that you actually heard what they said, provide assurance that they're doing the right thing, and be open and honest. Sometimes this person will actually ask you, I don't know, what do you think? Guess what? You're the expert. You have to recommend, you have to tell them. You have to, you know, if they're debating between two policies and they say, well, which one do you think is the best? Tell them which one you would purchase. But also tell them that, you know, if you're talking about the copay plan versus the HSA plan, Well, I have an HSA plan for my family, but you were saying that it is very important for you to have copays to the doctor and to know that you're only going to have to pay $35, and you know what you're out of pocket. If that's the thing that's really important to you, then you should go with the copay plan. Use that. Give them the examples. An analyst, you have to make sure that you know what you're talking about when you talk to the analyst. You have to give them the exact dollars. You have to give them the exact amount. You have to be organized in the presentation. Can't be jumping around. They'll get very frustrated, especially because you know they have a pen and paper in hand. They are taking notes. So make sure that you're not jumping all over the board with them. But also, they're thinkers. So you have to give them time to think, which is really, really, really hard over the phone because you can't see the facial expressions on the other side of the line. You don't know what they're doing, but you have to learn to be quiet, because that quiet, even just 30 seconds, gives them time to think, to finish writing, to process what you said and formulate the question or place it into how it fits in their lives or whatever. And also, you got to be a realist with them. Dealing with the controller, very, very focused, specific, concise. Persuade them with the facts. They are not about the picture. They don't care about painting that picture and how it's going to work in their life. They want to know, what's in it for me? How is this going to affect my bottom line? Why is this policy better than the rest? Give them facts. Give them the fact of the carrier. Give them the fact of, American General AEP is one of the only policies across the nation that has no coordination of benefits. That means regardless of who's paying the bill, you are going to be able to keep some of that money in your pocket to stay home and recover. Give them facts. Give them what you absolutely know. The other side of all of this is the actual ways that we communicate, because those are the 4 different communication styles as far as how to deal with people with energy or kindness or those sort of things. But we have to keep in mind a few different things. How do we communicate in a whole? We communicate with spoken words. We communicate with something called paralinguistic. That's the tone, the loudness, the emphasis, those sort of things. And then we have the physical, the facial expressions, the hand motions, all those sort of things. But the big question, the interesting fact is, we're working over the phone here. So we can use spoken words, which is actually only 7% of the way that we communicate. We can use paralinguistics, which is only 30% of the way that the world communicates. 55% of the way communication is dealt with is physical. It's the facial expressions, it's the hand motions, it's the, the tilts of the head, it's all those different things. And that means that we're already at a deficit. 55% of the way that we communicate isn't coming across. So you need to make sure that you're pretending like that person's right in front of you. It's kind of funny as I'm saying this because I'm realizing that my hands are moving. My face is moving, my head's moving from the computer screen to the phone that I'm talking into and all of those sort of things. You have to pretend like that person is right there so that you can try and get the emphasis across. Okay? So become an expert at the paralinguistics portion of it, but don't drop off those actual motions that you're going through. As far as the paralinguistics, the tone, you have to put a smile on your face. You have to put a smile on your face so that you can actually smile down the phone. Whether this means that you have a mirror in front of you, whether this means, who knows what it means. But smile down the phone. Be energetic. This is huge. A lot of the times I find that by the end of the day or first thing in the morning when you are just sipping on your first cup of coffee, it's hard to have the energy come across the phone. So you have to figure out what works for you. For me, it is a combination of two things. One, I have a headset so that I can walk around. When I feel like I'm getting tired, I am walking, pacing back and forth, moving my hands, all of those different things. But just that motion creates creativity, that energy that you need to be on top of your game. If you've been doing this, or as you do this for a while, you'll get to know your products and you'll be able to walk. I go and fill my water while I'm doing a pitch. I do all sorts of things while I'm pitching. The other half of it is when you're actually at your desk. You have to be at your desk. We have to run the quotes. We have to do those sort of things. So how can you create energy at your desk? Put fun things around you. Me personally, I sit on an exercise ball. I found that sitting on a chair all day, I get to the end of the day and I'm lazy. All I want to do is lean back in my chair, put my feet up, and my pitch sounds like it. So you got to try and create that energy. For me, sitting on the ball, by the end of the day, I'm still having to focus, so I'm still more energetic. The other part of tone is changing your voice so that you sound concerned. When they say something, when they're concerned, when they are worried about something, when whatever it comes down to, you have to show that sympathy for them. If something went wrong, you have to show that you're concerned and you care about them. Also, loudness. Loudness is kind of touchy because, those two things that I say down at the bottom, you can't yell at them and you can't talk so quiet that they can't hear you. But if they get excited with them. If they slow down to think, you got to slow down and pretend like you're processing it too. Even though you know what you're going to say, you got to show them that you're excited with them, or slowing down so that you're thinking, or showing that concern. You can do that in the tone or the loudness of your voice also. The last little part of this is really the emphasis. What words do you emphasize? Because across the phone, it's huge. They don't see the facial expression. They don't see anything else. And so what words are you choosing to emphasize? Because it's all your choice. So write down the following sentence, because I want you guys to play around with it. This sentence can be said or can imply a ton of different things. So 7 different ways. There's 7 different words in the sentence. When you say it as, I didn't say you stole the purse, it means I didn't say you stole the purse, but someone else might have said that you stole the purse. I didn't say that you stole the purse. It's like an absolute no way, I believe you. When you say the third one, I didn't say you stole the purse, implies that you're thinking that they stole the purse, but you just didn't verbalize it. I didn't say you stole the purse. Of course, someone stole it, but who knows who. I didn't say you stole the purse. Maybe you just borrowed it. Maybe you're just looking at it. Maybe you hid it. Who knows? I didn't say you stole the purse, but you stole another purse. I didn't say you stole the purse, but I think you stole a whole bunch of other stuff. You get the picture as how we put the different emphasis on things. So bring it into your pitch. As you're talking to someone, whether it's leaving a voicemail from the very first contact or leaving talking to them throughout your pitch, putting concern into the deductible, or glossing over the deductible. It doesn't really matter, but put emphasis where they need it, but also so that it doesn't create questions. Sometimes we end up thinking about other things in our pitch, other pieces. Maybe we get an idea of a dental plan that's going to fit perfect, or you're trying to look and see how much life insurance would be while you're pitching your major medical and accident. And so your mind is all over the place, and they don't realize what you're doing on your computer screen, but it's coming across in your pitch. So got to make sure that everything that you're saying, you're using some the good, the correct, whatever you want to say, tone, emphasis, language. I mean, language is huge. If they're talking in the technical terms of policies, then you need to make sure that you're doing the same thing. If they're talking in layman's terms, you need to talk in layman's terms. If they're being informal, you're informal. If you're formal, they're formal. If they're from the South and they're skipping some words, go ahead and throw it out there. Skip a few words. If they're that, bleach blonde, then be a bleach blonde. I know that's a stereotype, but I'm just saying, if they're being ditzy, then you be ditzy. It's actually one of the first calls that I usually play as I train new agents is, I'm not a ditzy person. Kind of annoys me actually, but at the same time I can play that person, and I use that as a training call because I turn into that person, and that, yeah, I know, yep. And you just got to do it. Add those words into there. Change your voice, because the more people that you can connect with just in that expression over the phone and the paralinguistics of the conversation, the more sales you're going to be able to close. So on that note, the final style is really whatever you need to be to close the sale. Cannot emphasize that enough. Be what you need to be. When you do a personality test, I've done multiple personality tests throughout, and it's always interesting because I score very, very close on all of them. I can be analytical. I can be a controller. I can be the sympathetic. I can be the promoter. I can be all of those different ones. It just depends on what I need to be at that time. And you guys need to figure out how to do that for your sales also. So, any questions on communication styles? I don't see any questions pop. So I'm the Senior Training Manager here. You can reach me at training@AHCP. Email me if I might forward it to the right person, but don't be afraid to email us to start recording every email it to you if you would like it. And on that note, thanks for attending. I'll see you guys, hopefully some of you, tomorrow for tomorrow's training on HSAs, or back next week. Have a great day, guys.